Hello everyone, and welcome to your second royal reading here at MadWorldTarot. And for this reading I am using just the ordinary Rider-Waite, the Radiant Wise Spirit version of it. Celtic Cross coming up. We're off to Kensington Palace in this reading. We're going to try and rent an apartment there. Apparently it's that simple. You can just announce through the media that you are going to rent an apartment at Kensington Palace and put the feud behind you with Prince William, and all is solved and everything is lovely again. So perhaps we can try that, and I can do my tarot readings from Kensington Palace. That would give me an edge, wouldn't it? But anyway, according to this story, it's a peace offering to Prince William in an attempt to end the feud. They, meaning has-been and the wife, will rent an apartment. They will rent an apartment at Kensington Palace and furnish it themselves. That part made me laugh. Oh, I love that part. I don't know if you've seen the latest hostage video of has-been. It's Invictus Games thing. He licks off his face on something. And but he's sitting in front of a bookcase that's furnished with cheap baubles like you might get from a very low-end furniture store. Cheap knickknacks mass-produced in China, and to think he had the treasures of the realm at his fingertips, at his command, back in the UK. But there he was, with those gaudy baubles behind him. And anyway, so they're going to furnish it themselves, perhaps on Meghan's credit card, that rent-a-couch thing or whatever it was that they did last time. He hopes that will please William, not Prince William. He hopes that will please William and show they're serious about coming back. Though Harry doesn't want to become a prisoner of the palace. I think the wife probably tacked on that line. Now, as far as I can tell, she has no intention of ever going back to the UK, not even for a visit. So I'm going to assume, for the sake of argument, that this is really a has-been puff piece. But we'll ask about Meghan. Does she want to go back to the UK? But mostly I'm curious to know if this is an SOS from has-been to his brother to say, help, things are really bad here in Montecito, and even my chimpo gig might go belly up. And I'm back roiling again with Nacho, and I need a place to crash. And how about that apartment at Kensington Palace? So we want to know if that's really what's going on, if he really wants to go back, how the wife feels about it. Is she looking forward to finishing an apartment at Kensington Palace? How William feels about it, and will has-been get that apartment, or will he be sleeping under a bridge? There is a housing crisis in the UK, and you know, so it's possible. Just doing some shuffling. Haven't used this tarot deck for a while. It needs to be juiced up a bit, unfortunately, for those of you who like these things to come flying out the gate. This one's not going to come flying out the gate. It's going to take a while, but I think one more shuffle, as we famously say. Yeah, one more shuffle. There we go. We're done. And let's not forget the disclaimer that this is tarot for fun and entertainment, or my opinion, or speculation. I read energy here, archetypal energy, because it's a royal family. And disclaimer in the box below. And let's see what this Celtic Cross wants to tell us. It's from has-been's point of view. So we're going to bring the wife in, and we're going to bring William in, see how they feel about this furnished apartment at Kensington Palace. Here we got Knight of Wands. I'm back. That's a hot-headed, red-headed prince, literally, with a flame coming out of his, I was going to say crash helmet, but that thing. Bouncing back, full of exuberance, rash, reckless, hot-headed, impetuous, unreliable, disloyal. He never has a good reputation, that guy. Even when he's upright, he's a bit dodgy because he's too flamboyant. He's too unreliable and too full of drama and too bad-tempered, and you just never quite know what he's going to be doing. And my eye has been pulled to this card. It's the next one down, the Tower. And exactly, if that guy's around in your life, Tower moment isn't far away. Just saying. That's for you out there learning tarot and doing your own personal readings. Dodgy. Situation from Harry's point of view. Situation. Ooh, justice. Justice. He wants what he wants. He wants fairness. His rights. I'm getting a very strong sense of grievance from that card. I want what's mine. William has got, I don't know how many houses in the UK and the Duchy of Cornwall, and one day is going to get Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle, even though Meg's tried her best to get Windsor Castle. And I had to stop for a little cough there, sorry. So Has-Been needs a home. He's been booted out of Frogmore Cottage. And so what's fair is fair. And so if he announces he's going to get an apartment at Kensington Palace, well, then it just jolly well has to happen. What is his particular problem right now in life? The sense of grievance. What's going on? Hanged man. He feels like he's been hung out to dry. He's been blamed for everything. It's not his fault in his mind. But everyone's making out as if it's his fault and blaming him and punishing him. And he's stuck and he's in limbo and he doesn't know what to do next, even though he's on his worldwide philanthropy tour playing polo with Nacho. If ever there was a polo playing night, it's the Knight of Wands. Look at me, look at me. But in reality, feeling very trapped, very frustrated, doesn't want to be a prisoner of the palace. He honestly feels this. He feels it right now. He's disempowered. He's been punished. He's been hung out to dry by the palace and possibly by the wife. But he also feels genuinely that if he goes back to the UK, they will entrap him. Not entrap him, that's the wrong word. They will lock him up, keep him hostage. Well, he's been a hostage in the US, according to the jokes that go around, of course. Just kidding. But he's, I think, in my opinion, been so brainwashed that he honestly believes if he goes back, he's going to lose all his freedom that he found and that Omid wrote that compelling book about. Helped a little bit from the side by you-know-who's. And yeah, he really believes that he might get stuck there, cut off and put in the tower, metaphorically. Yeah, I just had a lovely mental image of Has-Been in the tower. Anyway, let's see, is this a secret SOS to William? Help! My life's a mess. I need a bailout here. Oh, yes. Send the reinforcements. Send them now with that 9 of Wands. I'm damaged. I've got a head wound here. And I always say with this card, the head injury signifies mental health issues. He's had to put up those barricades. He's making his last stand there. Help. Definitely help. I'm about to fall over. You need to rescue me, big bro. I might have written a terrible book accusing you of all kinds of things and revealing very intimate personal details about you that no one should know. But help. So, does he want to go back to the UK? Does he want to go back to being royal? I think he does. 10 of Pentacles in reverse is the royal family card. In reverse, it's been cut off from that. Being booted from the comfort, the luxury, the sense of order and security, and you know your place in life, where you belong, where you fit in, who you are. He has no idea who he is out in the real world. Also, I think he has run out of money. So they didn't say how much they would pay to rent the apartment. They did say they would furnish themselves with Meg's credit card. But times are tough. Let's see what's been going on. I think times are tough, but let's see what's been going on in the past. The Empress, well, she has been going on in the past. That's her. And I think it's a sense of she's been in charge of his life. And that thing that I said about him not knowing who he is, the Hanged Man doesn't know who he is. He's getting an idea, he's getting a clue as he's hanging upside down. He might not like what he sees. And my throat is closing up again and I'm going to have to cough again soon, possibly. But even though it's a lovely card, the Empress, it is a sense of a woman being, it's all about the woman. It's all about the wife. It's all about her. It's all about her dreams, her hopes, her desires to manifest her perfect life. There she is in her designer clothes, that kaftan we saw with her tiara on. In that garden, that famous garden with the trees that we see photoshopped in so often, and sometimes not their garden. Most often it's not their garden, it's San Ysidro Ranch. But she's in her place, her happy place. There is no sign of him in this picture. All about her. So what's coming next? We're going to hear about furniture being moved. What's happening? Oh my, a fresh start. We could hear about furniture being moved with that. Because the Fool is off on a new journey. He's taking his little dog. And he's off. He's about to step off a cliff on a brave new adventure. Not really looking where he's going. He's going to take a leap of faith. And off he goes on his own, away from her. Off he goes. It might be that he doesn't go straight back to Blighty and the castle and all that lovely stuff that's there. He might go off on his worldwide philanthropy tour. I do get a sense that he's planned things for himself. Lots of events, lots of attention-seeking events. Knight of Wands is someone who travels. He can travel in and out of your life in a relationship sense, but he also does a lot of international travel, playing polo. In this case, he's off on his adventures. There he goes. How does Megan feel about renting an apartment at Kensington Palace? She might want to rent the apartment so it looks like she lives there, like it looked like they lived at Frogmore Cottage, in my opinion. But does she really want to live there? No. 8 of Pentacles in reverse. And why doesn't she want to live there? Because she can't monetize it. She can't make money if she's stuck, if she's a prisoner of the palace. And they take away her keys and her phone and her passport. And they leave her there, lost, alone, trapped, without any human companionship. So no, she can't monetize this. She's not close to her agent. We know that she's basically living across the road in a hotel from her new agents, phoning them 25 times a day, probably showing up at their door at all hours of day and night. She can't do that from Kensington Palace. So it's about practicalities for her. Can't make money in Blighty. Has to be in LA where it's all happening. Well, it's not happening, but anyway. How does William feel about this? Sometimes we get surprises with these cards. Dream on. Dream on. Oh, you are so deluded, little brother. Has been. Herald of the delusion. 7 of Cups is the card of delusion. Dreams. Thinking that you have possibilities where you don't actually have possibilities. So I don't think he's even going to deign to respond to this. But he sees it for what it is, that it's just a fantasy. It's dreams. I think of that Father Ted episode where, what's his name, the stupid one, couldn't tell the difference between dreams and reality, and Father Ted had to draw a diagram. There's the diagram, really. Hopes and fears for Has-Been with this attempt at reconciliation. Queen of Cups in reverse. That is that he's going to be dealing with some degree of unhappiness. And you know, strangely enough, the first thing that comes to mind is Kensington Palace. We all know who had apartment. Was it apartment 1A? I don't know what the number of it was, but that's where Princess Diana lived post-divorce. That's where the boys would have spent an awful lot of time. For him, this would actually be really difficult to go back to. So whoever's cooked up this idea, and we didn't bother to ask in this reading, whoever's come up with this puff piece, I assume over there, the Empress, didn't think it through in the sense of how triggering it would be for our Has-Been, having to be back there. And that's, you know, obvious, really. So he does think it would be difficult for him. He might even fear, and this is just an intuition and I'm going to articulate it, he might even fear that Ghost Mummy Diana is around and he might get to see her, because he's told constantly that there is communication with Ghost Mummy Diana. He might think that if he goes to bed there in Kensington Palace, closes his eyes, things might creak and along might come, you know, I was going to say the rattle of chains, but no, not quite. We're talking about the prisoner of the palace, but no, that was taking the image too far, and I apologize for that. No disrespect to Princess Diana or the royal family. So outcome has been back in the UK, back in the royal family. What's going on? Ooh, possible. He's got an upgrade from Knight of Wands to King of Wands here. Brace yourselves. You know, I keep thinking the story's going to end and then we can all have peace. But not with that card. The Fool's going off on his big adventure and he's going to come back in all his glory to make trouble in the UK. I'm sorry to say. I have done a reading of Has Been at 50. I think it was 50. Did not look good. But it did look like he was living in a garden cottage or something and making trouble. Very unhappy, very sour, very litigious, all of those things which seem likely. But this is the now. We're at 38. We've got a way to go to 50. We're coming into divorce time, typically, astrologically. Late 30s, early 40s, classic divorce time. King of Wands is going to pop up somewhere and try and steal the thunder from his brother. My opinion. We'll have a look at that in the days to come. But that's your reading. Thanks for watching, and thanks again for your lovely messages about Sabre. And I'll see you again. Possibly tomorrow, meeting with friends tomorrow, so maybe not. If not, then definitely Saturday.